Well, this is something I really cannot do in 10 minutes. So I'm just going to touch upon a very few things which most of us use in our daily practice. X-ray imaging. So this was our previous X-ray systems wherein we had our films, which we put them inside this box, made the patient lie down on this table, and then the technologists would take that film there, take it to the dark room, put it in different solutions, and take ages to bring us a proper X-ray film. But now with the introduction of computer radiology, we have done away with the darkroom systems. Instead of a conventional film, we have something called the imaging plates, which have photostimulable phosphor in them. So they catch the image, they catch the X-rays after they come out of the patient and form a latent image. And that imaging plate with the latent image will be put into an image reader, and then you can directly see the image on a computer system. These were the original films that initially people used to use and then take to the dark room and develop it. But then we have these present imaging plates which are used in the CR system. Now CR system has now given way to the digital radiography, wherein you have a direct digital imaging plates which are kept beneath the patient, which catch the X-ray beam that is coming out of the patient and form an electronic image which can easily be read out on our systems. So you have the direct radiography, wherein you have these photoconductors which capture the X-rays after it comes out of the patient and then form a latent image. And then you have this indirect system too, which has an intensifying screen which has those photostimulable phosphor. So you have a latent image that is formed in the form of a light, which is later again converted into an electric form of that image, and that's how your final image would look like. And these digital images are, they look much more good, the edges are much more sharper, you can pick up lesions very well, and the most important thing is you can do away with a lot of technical errors, like your technician putting wrong factors, using wrong MA, wrong KV. You can just do away with all those errors, and you can do a lot of post-processing. You want the image to look bright, you can do it. You want it to look dark, you can do it. You want to magnify a certain area, you can do it. So digital radiography has really made life very easy for us and for the patients too. Coming to the ultrasound, one important thing that we normally use in a clinical practice is tissue harmonic imaging. It's a technology wherein whatever ultrasound is coming back from the patient, initially we used to use that entire ultrasound to form the image. But now with the introduction of tissue harmonic imaging, we only use the second harmonic to form the image. Now why do we do that? That's because look at this image wherein you're not really sure what you're seeing in this area, but then the moment you switch on your tissue harmonics, the area becomes much more clearer. So we use this technology because lesions are much more clearer and better defined. And it would help us to differentiate cysts from solid masses, especially when they're very small, a millimeter or a couple of millimeters, especially in superficial structures like the breast tissues. And it is definitely superior to conventional ultrasound and is much more useful in obese patients. So that's why whenever we see any difficult area, we always go into our tissue harmonic mode and say it. 3D imaging, 4D imaging, extensively used in obstetrics. It has a lot of other applications also, but I think it's become more popular and famous in the obstetric imaging. So you have this 2D image wherein you can see only two-dimensional, but the moment you switch on your 3D and you use your special volumetric probes, these volumetric probes bombard the tissue with ultrasound from various directions and then capture the returning echoes from various directions and finally give you a 3-dimensional image like this. So 3-dimensional image is one thing that doesn't have the let us say the movement aspect of it. So when you add movement to this 3D, it becomes a 4D. And see how happy the patient would become the moment they see a normal baby. But what's in it for us? How does it make life easier for me? See, I can pick up very small lesions very well. Suppose a child is a small cleft lip, I probably would not have been able to see it on the 2D, but then I would easily pick it up on this photographic kind of an image, and that's how 4D, other than being an entertainment ultrasound, that's what they call it. But then it's also useful for diagnosis. It saves a lot of time. And then we have something called this advanced automated ultrasound fusion imaging. We have MR, we have CT, we have ultrasound. They're all separate. But then you have the system wherein you can superimpose a previously done MR or a previously done CT on an ultrasound image. How is it useful for us? See, suppose this was a lesion here, an area of abnormality. I want to biopsy this, but I don't want to do it under CT guidance because of the radiation. I want to do it under ultrasound guidance. So I can just superimpose a previously done CT on this ultrasound screen, and then I can be very, very sure that the area where I'm putting my needle on an ultrasound is the same as the area where the abnormality was there on the CT scan. Look at this small lesion in the MR. MR is excellent for picking up the lesions, but then sometimes it could be a problem in characterizing the lesion. So you exactly want to know if it's fluid filled, is it solid, what kind it is. Then you can superimpose that MR image on the ultrasound image, and you can make sure the lesion that you're seeing here on the ultrasound is the very same lesion that you wanted to characterize on the MR. And then this specific appearance of being echogenic on the ultrasound stamps this lesion to be a hemangioma and absolutely nothing else. So MR was excellent for localization, and ultrasound helped you in characterizing the lesion, and because you used the fusion imaging, you were very sure that it was the same lesion on MR that you had seen on your ultrasound. Elastography, again, something that everybody is doing now, everybody is talking about now. You have, this is a unique mechanism or some kind of a new technique which gives you information about the stiffness of a tissue. This kind of information is not given by any other imaging modality that we have till now. It's color coded, or you can also quantify it by using strain ratios. You can just compress the tissue, or you can use some shear waves to compress the tissue and then see how that tissue is responding to pressure. See, suppose it's green to tell you that this lesion is soft. So most malignancies are very hard and very stiff. So if this lesion is soft, it's okay. I'll wait, I will follow it up. Maybe do a scan after 6 months. I need not go right ahead and biopsy it. But suppose I see a lesion like this, and then that lesion is completely blue. It's very hard, so there's more chance of malignancy. So that gives you a sense of urgency. Go right ahead and biopsy it. It is also being used extensively in the liver to diagnose the pre-cirrhotic stages. HIFO, this is a real boon to women with fibroids who don't want to go under the knife. It's a highly precise medical procedure that applies highly intense focused ultrasound energy to destroy certain tissue. Now, what the ultrasound that we use in diagnostic imaging is of a very low intensity. But then if you want to burn a tissue up, you want to kill a tissue up, you'll have to use very highly focused ultrasound, which is going to increase the temperatures in that area. But the beam is focused to around 65 to 85 degrees centigrade, and it's but obvious the cell is going to die. It's just going to undergo coagulative necrosis and die. So that's how you can do a kind of a surgery without actually cutting the skin. So you can do it under MR guidance, which is approved in India and Asia. Ultrasound guidance, well, it's not yet approved in our country, so we are doing it under an MR guidance, so that's how you do it. You use your MR to actually localize the area. You have to send your focused ultrasound only to that area, not to any of the surrounding area, and kill only that tissue. So this was the MR of a lady who underwent this HIFO for a fibroid. Look at that fibroid, pre-treatment, nice solid enhancing lesion. If you use contrast post-treatment, you can see this area of black not enhancing, that's the dead tissue. So almost 90% of her fibroid was cured, and she was symptom-free simply because she had a 1 hour of HIFO treatment in the MR without any surgery. Mammography, so this was a conventional mammographic machine. So these are normal views wherein we take the oblique views and then we take the craniocaudal views. Okay, that was very good. But then look at this dense breast, probably that's a very young lady. That was a lactating lady. We don't know. She has a malignancy hidden somewhere there. We can't see it because the tissue is so white, so it's just hiding it. So that's how digital mammography has also helped us. Just like how we have digital imaging for routine chest, etc. You can also do it for the mammograms and then see how things have cleared up. You can see better. And like I said, the most important thing about this digital radiography is the post-processing. You can really alter the image, you can magnify the image, and you can do all kinds of post-processing which will make diagnosis much, much more easier for you. And then we have something called the contrast enhanced digital mammography, a very young lady, dense breast, there is some asymmetry. Look, it's normal here, it's abnormal here. Now what do we do with this? Should we just go in and biopsy it, or can we do something non-invisively? So we have done this contrast enhanced digital mammography, and look at the final subtraction images after injecting contrast. Only the area of malignancy stands out. Not only does that area stand out, you have a satellite nodule here, and then another satellite nodule here which you picked up. So without touching the patient with a needle or a knife, you're 100% sure that she has a malignancy, and then you can plan for further treatment. Another lady, there was this lesion here. Again, we're not really sure, is it malignant, is it benign? You really can't approach that. The size of the breast is also large, and then there's so much of breast tissue. It's very difficult to localize a small needle, the small lesion with a needle. So what did we do in that? We went ahead and did this contrast study, and then you can see that there is absolutely no enhancement. So you can send this patient home saying you do not have a malignancy. Please come back for a regular mammographic examination after 1 year. 3D mammography, the tomosynthesis we were talking about, like I said, our routine mammography is only a two-dimensional image. Everything is superimposed on everything. So you have a malignancy sitting right behind this area of dense glandularity, you can't pick it up. But then you have this 3D mammogram wherein this, the tube rotates all around the patient and captures images from all directions. You can just slice away the breast tissue, 1 mm, 2 mm, and then you can see it slice by slice, and there's no way you're going to miss anything on that. Finally, we have this cone beam breast CT scanner. Till now, we really didn't use CT for the breast because so much of radiation dose, and it's a sensitive organ. But then you have this dedicated cone beam breast CT scanner just for the breast, and that's how the patient would lie down. And then once this breast is scanned, no other part of the body gets irradiated. The chest wall doesn't get it, the lungs don't get it, the heart doesn't get it. Only the area that you want to image gets the radiation, and then you can really pick up lesions very well. So this was a lady, she had this lesion here. Again, we were not sure what it was in the mammogram. She underwent a dedicated breast CT in the cone beam CT. This was a pre-contrast and post-contrast. You can see this entire area of malignancy lighting up. So that's how good it is. So finally, to summarize, a lot of rapidly advancing technological improvements are there, but how does the clinician know? I'm a radiologist, so I'll look it up. It's my bread and butter, but how would the clinician know? So you have to have an interaction between the clinician and the radiologist. If they have a doubt, they can always call us up and say, would you suggest an ultrasound for this patient? Would you suggest an MR? And we'll be more than happy to help them out and tell them which is the best modality, because the primary goal of both them and us is to make the imaging and treatment tailor-made to suit the patient, both his disease and his financial status. Thank you very much.